What did pharaohs take into their tombs after death? Imagine a tomb sealed for thousands of years. The air is still. The silence is absolute. No light, no sound, only eternity. At the center of this sacred space lies a pharaoh, but he is not alone. Around him are carefully chosen objects positioned with almost ritual precision. Nothing was placed there by chance. Every item served a clear and profound purpose, often considered essential for life after death. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an ending. It was a continuation in another form. And pharaohs believed that just as in life, they would need protection, nourishment, power, and knowledge beyond the grave. But what exactly did they take with them? And what does this reveal about what they believed awaited them after death? Gold, the symbol of eternity. Gold dominates nearly every royal tomb. Funerary masks, jewelry, amulets, thrones, chests, and statues made of gold. The most famous example is Tutankhamun, with whose tomb contained more than 5,000 objects, many crafted from solid gold. But gold did not represent wealth in the modern sense. To the Egyptians, gold was the material of the gods. It did not decay, rust, or age. It was eternal, just as the pharaoh was meant to be after death. Bringing gold into the tomb ensured that both body and soul were linked to immortality. But were these objects merely symbolic, or did they serve a real spiritual function we no longer understand? The funerary mask and eternal identity. The funerary mask was not meant only to preserve the pharaoh's face. It played a vital spiritual role. The Egyptians believed the soul needed to recognize the body in order to return to it, but the mask did not depict the pharaoh as he was in life. It showed him as he should be in eternity, youthful, perfect, divine. It was a new identity. Could appearance influence the soul's destiny? And what if the image itself held power over consciousness? Everyday objects, living after death. Inside the tombs, archaeologists found surprisingly ordinary items: sandals, beds, chairs, clothing, board games, musical instruments, perfumes, and mirrors. These objects reveal something profound. The pharaoh believed he would continue living, sleeping, walking, enjoying himself. Death did not end daily life, it simply changed the setting. This raises an intriguing question. Was the Egyptian afterlife purely spiritual or a physical continuation in another plane of existence? Food and drink for eternity. The tombs also contained real food: bread, fruit, dried meat, honey, wine, and beer. In addition, tomb walls were covered with scenes of endless banquets. The Egyptians believed the soul could feed on both the physical food and the spiritual essence of those offerings. But why such concern with nourishment? Did the soul feel hunger, or did food provide a form of energy necessary to survive beyond death? Ushaptis, servants of the afterlife. Among the most intriguing objects were the ushaptis, small figurines representing workers. Some tombs contained dozens, others hundreds. Their purpose was clear: to work in place of the pharaoh if the gods demanded labor in the afterlife, such as farming or construction. This suggests something unexpected. The afterlife was not an eternal rest, but a world with obligations. Could life after death involve hierarchy, duty, and responsibility? Protective amulets against unseen dangers. Pharaohs' bodies were covered in amulets: the Eye of Horus, the Ankh, the Jed pillar, sacred scarabs. Each served a specific purpose: protection, balance, vitality, stability. The heart scarab, for example, was placed over the chest to prevent the heart from speaking against the pharaoh during judgment in the afterlife. But this raises an unsettling question. Why would the soul need protection after death? What dangers did they believe existed beyond this world? Sacred texts, maps of the other world. Many pharaohs were buried with texts from the Book of the Dead, written on papyrus or carved into tomb walls. These were not simple prayers, they were detailed instructions. What to say, to whom to say it, how to pass through gates, and how to deceive hostile entities. This sounds less like religion and more like a survival guide. Was the afterlife a dangerous place, and could only the prepared survive it? Solar boats, traveling between worlds. Some pharaohs were buried with full-sized boats, dismantled and placed near their tombs, the most famous being the solar boat of Khufu. These boats symbolized the pharaoh's journey with the god Ra across the sky and through the underworld. But why a boat? Did they believe the soul truly traveled, not symbolically, but literally? And if so, where was it going? Weapons and symbols of power. Even in death, the pharaoh remained a king. That is why weapons, scepters, staffs, and crowns were placed inside the tomb, not to rule over humans, but to govern and protect themselves in the afterlife. This suggests that the other world was not entirely peaceful. Could conflicts exist after death? And the final revelation. In the end, every object inside a pharaoh's tomb reveals a powerful belief that consciousness continues, that death is not the end, and that knowledge is the key to eternity. Which leads us to the final questions. What if the pharaohs knew something about death that we have forgotten? What if tombs were not endings, but gateways? Perhaps the greatest treasures of Egypt are not made of gold, but of ideas, of beliefs, and of mysteries that still wait to be understood.